Well, hello, beautiful ones. How are you? So, let's see what's going on. There's a lot of stuff going on in the sky. We have this big transition. I'm doing this Pluto series so that we really get to the psychological trauma that we have been carrying for lifetimes and in this life as well. And we're trying to transform it, transmute it. It's time that we stop carrying all that baggage and continue forward and have a life with all of that stuff that we're carrying that we don't even realize we're carrying because we've been carrying it for so long. So I just want to go over a little bit. Again, the Pluto series, the houses are coming out as they come out because as a medium, I can see and I'm feeling all of this stuff. So I want to give every house its due. And so sometimes I need a break between the houses. So for this reason, I'm going to talk today about just kind of what's going on and how to work through the energies that are going on now. And I'm going to show you where it's taking us. And this is why I love astrology because with my other modalities that I know, hypnosis and mediumship and tarot and all that stuff, I mean, I can tell you and then the things come true and whatever, and that's exciting. But I have a science. I love science. I love connecting the dots. That's kind of who I am. And astrology can show you um, why it's that way or that it's that way or where we're actually going. You can kind of see it. And yeah, I was going to say something personal in my life that really happened and how I saw it. Um, but I wasn't sure. Yeah, I can't say that because it involves other people, and I'm not sure that I can say that. So anyway, um, it's exciting when I can connect the dots and I can see it. Even it's like I know what I know, and I trust my higher self, and I trust the other people on the other side. I trust all of that. But when I can show it to you, when I can show you what I'm seeing and connect the dots for you, it's exciting. I want you to see what I see, right? So I hope that explains it. I hope I'm saying it correctly. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Cindy. I am at Simply Cindy. I used to do YouTube a long time ago. I've come back this year to do YouTube full time. That is my goal. So if you like what you see, please subscribe, like, share, and I want to thank those that have liked, have commented, have shared. I really, really appreciate it. And this is me just showing you kind of how I see things and how I do things. And if you learn something, you learn something. If you just want it for entertainment, then it's just for entertainment, whatever you want. So let's talk today about what's going on in the skies and what sort of um, where we're kind of headed. And what I want to do is try to help you get solutions, see yourself through this, right? So that's my goal. And my goal in that, I'm like showing you a little bit about how I see it. Okay. So we all know about the Pluto transit. We all know that Pluto's gone into Aquarius, right? But what's been happening lately over the actually month, yeah, about a month, is that we've had, and oh, I'm sorry, for those of you that don't know me, the way that I see the planets, because I'm a medium, the way that I see the planets and the stars and all of that is that they have characters that they're characters for me. So because they speak to me, but it's not in our language. It's just as a medium how I'm the translator. That's what I do, right? So I want you guys to get to know these planets and their characters and how they sort of reveal themselves to me, so that it can kind of help you connect so that when you see other astrologers, you see a chart, you're like, oh, yeah, that's blah, 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 right? So it kind of helps. Anyway, so what's been happening is with Pluto going into Aquarius, anytime a planet moves into a different sign, especially the outer planets, we're going through a transition. And because Pluto is so, I was going to say he can wreak havoc, but he does it in a way that teaches you to be empowered, to get through your, honestly, it's like, he's like, you gotta, I'm gonna be real with y'all. He's like, you got a lot of psychological bullshit that's keeping you back from and holding you back from doing you. And Pluto's not like Venus or even Saturn, who is like holding your hand and very kind and will speak to you in a tone that you can sort of be okay with. Pluto's not that. Pluto is that, I've explained it in another video. Pluto is that distant, relative or distant grandparent or distant uncle or distant aunt, or who just wants the best for you but doesn't have the best communication skills, but will show you your power by having you go through these things, by having you learn your lessons, because they see who you really are. They see that you're very powerful. They see that you are this person that's not doing the best, that I won't say the best, this person that has all this stuff around them, whether it's through environment, whether it's through genes, whether whatever, it's holding you back. And they don't ever want you to be in that position where you feel incapable or fearful and emotionally distraught because it's holding you back, right? That's sort of Pluto. Where Saturn will give you the rewards, and he just wants to know that you're responsible. He's like the dad. He's like the father. Pluto's not that. Pluto will bring up your trauma. He will make you face it. He will bring up your fear and make you face it. So because Pluto, and it's a generational planet, because it takes a long time to do its phases, right? So it's going to be in Aquarius for the next 20 years. We got that. In that, he has been talking to the other planets that have been coming by him. So as they come by him, they're talking to him. And we can get clues to this. So right now we have 3 planets: Pluto, Mars, and Venus. That's today. We have Pluto, Mars, and Venus in Aquarius. So some people, astrologers will call that a stellium. And they can be, there's a technical, they can be 10 orbs apart, 10 degrees apart, and whatever. Some do it with both signs in the same house. Some do it with if it's only in the one sign. It varies between astrologers. So that's not the point. The point is that they're close together and they're all talking. And when you have what a stellium, what they call it, what a stellium does is it's a clue to you that there's a lot of energy and it's something that you need to focus on, or that you're automatically going to be focused on. There's a lot of energy there, right? So that's one thing that's going on right now. We have the stellium. We have these 3 planets that are talking to each other. Mars is like, hurry up and get it done. Me, 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 me. Pluto's like, I'm going to show you your traumas, your fears, your obsessions, your whatever. And Venus is kind of like, I just want to love everybody and I just want to give gifts, but I want you to understand real love. I want you to understand the beauty of where we live and what we do, right? So she's kind of an odd character for me. But Pluto wants to deal with your psychological bullshit, right? So that's what's going on right now. So you may feel a little discombobulated, but it's in the area where Pluto is at right now for you, right? And it's on a generational and it's on a societal. And the reason we know this is because it's Aquarius. So it's in the sign of Aquarius, right? And Aquarius is all about humanity, society, so think that, right? On a societal level. But we came to that conclusion because of who we are, right? The personal level. So as that's what's going on right now and will be going on for a minute, but I want to take you back a little bit. I'm trying to like help you understand how I see it. Okay. So on, look, just bear with me. Okay. On January 21st, Pluto and the sun were talking, right? Pluto and the sun were talking. So they had a conversation. And again, Pluto wants to deal with your psychological stuff. And the sun just wants to show it to you. It wants you to be the center of attention, right? It wants you to be the center. So they're having a conversation. That was on January 21st. It went by Pluto. It probably showed you, these are all clues. It showed you something. It showed you, oh, okay, I need to start looking at this. Oh, I need to pay attention to this more. That's probably what it started showing you. It's not the resolution. That's going to come a little later. But this is kind of giving us clues as to what we're going to be dealing with. And I can tell you, because I've looked at all, well, not all of it, but I've done some investigating and researching into the future with astrology. And we're going to be dealing with this for about a 2-year period. So this phase is going to be about 1.5 to 2 years, right? And so it's showing you, okay, pay attention. Look at this part. It's like, look over here. Pluto's, the sun's like, I'll show everybody that they need to pay attention to you, right? That's kind of the conversation they were having. These are the things psychologically in your chart and in society that need to be looked at, right? Now that Pluto was in Capricorn and was taking down structures, we're in a different space. Now we got to get the people behind this. Does that make sense? That was on January 21st, okay? Then on February 3rd, sorry. Hold on. Just bear with me. Okay, then on February 3rd, now the sun is there, but he's still in Aqua, he's still in Aquarius, but here comes Mercury, right? And so Mercury is like, hey, what do we have to say, right? Because Mercury is about messages. Mercury wants to take messages, and Mercury wants to communicate and help you process things. That's what Mercury is about. So Mercury's coming, and he's going to have a discussion with as the sun's leaving, as the sun's moving forward, then Mercury comes up. And Mercury's like, what do we have to talk about? And again, Pluto only wants to talk about your psychological bullshit that's holding you back. And he's going to do it in a way that he's going to bring up the fears. And he's going to bring up the obsessions. And he's going to bring up power plays so that you can take your power back, right? So then by February 3rd, you probably could have, and it's days go by as these things are happening, right? And so in February 3rd, starting that, maybe a little bit early for some people, he started talking to Pluto, and he's like, what do we need to work on? What kind of communication do we need to do? What's going on here? And so you may have gotten in your life, or we saw it on a global scale, we saw it in society, messages, communications, processing, people I know I received news that kind of jolted me, and it did because that's Uranus, and Uranus rules Aquarius. He's a co-ruler with Saturn, right? So it didn't hurt you, but it could have jolted you a little bit. But where you've come from, you've learned that that's like a habit when you got jolted. It's like, okay, I'm not going to do that this time. This time I'm not going to be afraid. I'm just going to, if I know I'm doing the best I can and doing what I need to do, then I can't do anymore. And I'm not going to let the psychological fear stunt me. I'm going to keep doing what I need to do. I'm going to keep doing what I saw to do. Or maybe I need to adjust a little bit. Maybe I need to do this more. Maybe I need to do this less. Maybe I need to, but whatever this was, you got some sort of news or message that helped you process this, right? Then, and that was February 3rd, and it kind of continued on because it doesn't just, he's talking as he's getting close to Pluto and he's talking as he's going away from Pluto. Just, it's almost like, okay, let me make sure that we heard the message right. Let me make sure that I'm processing this right, right? And that's all with Pluto in Aquarius. And this has to do with, again, humanity, society, right? Then on February 8th, one second. Then and bear with me because it's all going to come out. It's all going to come out. But this is just the way that I'm trying to help you understand and get you understanding these planets more. So February 8th, what do we see? We see that the moon's there. So the sun's still there, but it's a little bit, Pluto can't hear what he's saying. Pluto, he's not shining his light so brightly like a spotlight anymore. He's still shining in that house. He's still got everything open in that house. He's still shining his light there. So there's still light there. So we still need to pay attention there, right? Because he's like, look, we got these things coming up. And the moon's there. And the moon's like, can we kind of take a break from all the sunshine? Can I put some illusion in there? Can I put some creativity in there? Can I put some feeling in there? And so she, the moon, is talking to Pluto as well, but she's talking to Mercury, and that sort of helped you process whatever this news was, whatever was coming to your attention, right? Because the moon is like, it doesn't have to shine so brightly. You don't have to be afraid. Like, you can create and do it this way and do it this way. And let's help you process this message. Let's help you process these things, right? So then you have the moon and the sun and Mercury that have all been talking to Pluto about your psychological fears, about your obsessions, about your power and it getting taken away. And just because it got taken away once before doesn't mean that you're not in power. It means to double down, stand up, do your thing, understand who you are, right? But then we have Mars and Venus back here. They've been talking to each other, but they're going to start talking to Pluto too, right? So then on February 11th, then we have, and this is where people can get technical. Some astrologers say it has to be in the same sign. I go by whatever I feel. So it doesn't have to be in the same sign if they're talking to each other, right? They just may be talking to each other and not understanding until they get to the same sign. That's kind of how I see it. But it kind of depends, right? Yeah. So now Pluto is talking to Mars, right? And he's kind of still got a message from Mercury, right? But the sun is still in there, right? The sun's still shining. The sun, there's still light here. There's still a focus here. There's still some clarity coming to you with this message, right? The moon's gone. She kind of, said, all right, everything's calmer. Let's, I can go do the rest of what I need to do in the other places, the other parts of your life, right? And so then we have Mars. And Mars is about me. Mars is like, why didn't we do it yesterday? Why are we even talking about it? We need to just freaking do it, right? That's Mars. Mars is aggressive. Mars is me, right? And he's talking to Pluto and he's saying, Pluto's like, well, society's done this and society's done that. And it's about the psychological BS that they have. And now they think they can't do this. And Mars is like, well, let's get it done. Let's get it done. So what could you be experiencing now that Mars is like, let's get it done, right? What you could be experiencing is, because Mars is about me. And how do we know that? Because he's the ruler of Aries, and Aries came to this world to be about themselves. They need to put themselves first. It's me. It's the child of the birth chart. It's the child of the signs, right? Me. And so what could be happening, and what happens when we have emotional BS and psychological BS, what oftentimes that we do is ignore it. We've ignored it. we don't want to look at it. We don't have time to look at it. We need to keep ourselves safe. We need to keep ourselves happy. We need to keep ourselves clear. Like, we got to do me, right? And so when Mars is approaching Pluto, it's like Pluto's like, but they need to know this, and Mars is like, let's do it, because Mars is action, right? So, and then Pluto, and then Venus is there too. She's coming up too, right? So Mars could have been some things that people acted out that were not dealt with, right? That haven't been dealt with, but they were there was a spotlight put on them because we have the sun and we have Mercury. So you could have got word, but this thing needed to cause action. So that, because it's all the psychology, fear, obsession. Does that make sense? So it's all coming together. Bear with me. So what you could be feeling from other people, or could be seeing, because it's action with Pluto, because Pluto's talking to Mars, is that you could be receiving or seeing that people are a little bit more aggressive, or that it's like, oh, why did you get mad at me? I didn't do anything. It's kind of like that kind of energy, if that makes sense. And so we've been sort of dealing with that for like since the 11th, right? And then comes because that was only like a couple of days. And then comes the Valentine's, right? Valentine's comes, sorry. Go whack one day. So Valentine's comes, and then we've got Mars still talking to Pluto, but here comes Venus, right? And Venus is all about emotion. And it has to do with my value, and it has to do with my gifts, and it has to do with money, it has to do with beauty, it has to do with that stuff, right? And so it's talking to Pluto, and Pluto's like, well, if we're going to focus on that stuff, we need to focus on psychological bullshit you have about that stuff, right? And so we need to look at your emotions. We need to look at what you're not looking at. We need to look at what you've chosen to ignore in the past, because it's not all roses. It's real, and let's get real, right? And that's the sort of energy that Pluto has with Venus. And Venus is like, ow, you know, I didn't want to look at that stuff. And Mars was like, I didn't want to look at that stuff either. I got stuff to do. I don't have time, right? And so what we could be experiencing in the last couple of days is, and what we will be experiencing for a minute, is emotional disruption or eruption, right? Because Mars is like war, it's eruption, it's boiling over, right? Mars is like roar, right? And so, and because Venus is emotion, and Pluto is like, oh, this is the psychological bullshit of the emotions that you've been hiding or not seeing or chose to ignore or whatever. So that could be coming out. So not only could it be coming out in your life, in the area of life where Aquarius is in your chart, but you're going to see it, and yeah, you'll see it if you haven't already, on a global scale, on a societal scale, right? Because of Aquarius. So you'll see, it's almost like you have, because you haven't looked at it, and something's irritating you, but you don't know what it is because it's buried inside, right? It's the psyche. It's the subconscious. It's in the background. It's the thing that you learned in your soul that you're trying to get through. Because of that, and with Pluto there, Pluto's going to bring it up. The sun's still there. The sun's going to make it bright, right? And Mercury's there. So Mercury still has some processing that you have to do. Maybe not messages, but processing that you have to do. And so what you may see, or what you may do, because this is, I'm going from societal to you personally, is that you may get angry or agitated and erupt. You may you know, spew something awful out at somebody and they didn't even do anything. It wasn't even them. And that's not really why you're mad. That's not really why you're upset. You don't know why you're upset yet. It's because this stuff was buried. This stuff has been misplaced, put in a different place in your psyche, in your emotions, right? These are emotions that you haven't dealt with, whether that was because you chose to, or whether you didn't have time to, or whether life just didn't give you a way to do it, right? Whether the family didn't give you the way to do it, your partner did, whatever it was, this is eruptions of emotions that are displaced. And that's how these three planets are working along with these other planets, because they're all having the conversation with Pluto. So what we could see on a global and societal level is these disruptions, these anger, almost like the earth is angry or society's angry, but it's misplaced. It's not even going to the right place. It's like, because we don't even know yet. Like, we know we're going forward, we just don't know where we're headed yet. Does that make sense to you guys? And on a personal level, you could either be the receiver, because that's Venus, the receiver of the eruption, or you could be the one that disrupts and you don't even know where it's coming from. Why did that trigger me? Why am I being triggered? What's going on? Right? But again, you may not even see it until somebody brings it up to you, right? But that's the psyche. That's the psychological stuff. That's the fears that come up. That's the obsessions that come up. That's I lost my power. I don't feel powerful. Why? Where did I lose it? How did that happen? Right? So that's kind of what we're going through right now. And again, you'll see it in your life, and then you can see it on a societal, on a community, on the community, on the state, on the society, on the humanitarian level. We will see this coming up, right? So, and this is something we're going to be dealing with for the next 2 years, maybe a year and a half, somewhere through there, right? So, that's only part of it. The other part is, now that Mars, and I told you, ruler of Aries, and Venus, right, ruler of Libra. So if I say, okay, Pluto, Mars, ruler of Aries, and Venus, ruler of Libra, what do we have over here? We have the North Node and the South Node. That's another clue, right? Because these two are the ruler of these houses are connected to Pluto. That is your destiny, and that is your habit. The North Node is your destiny. The South Node is your habit. You have lived lifetimes mastering this in the South Node. You have come here to do more of the North Node, be more of the North Node, but you have to balance both, right? The way to work with the North and the South Node is to balance them, not to be more one and more the other. Take your wisdom that you've learned from the South Node and apply it to your North Node. That's the way you work it. But they're talking to Pluto, right? So, and we have another little clue. We have Chiron here, okay? So Chiron is like Pluto, but in a different way. Where Pluto will bring up your trauma and your fear and your power play, Chiron makes you feel it's like one of our deepest wounds, and it makes you feel like you may not be up to par because of this deep wound. Does that make sense? It's almost like, I've always described it as being in the wrong place at the wrong time, and you can't help it. Like, whatever happens, it just wounded you. You did nothing wrong. It just wounded you, right? So it's talking to your North Node, who's talking to these, that's talking to these, right? So there's something about these that's really, really important, right? But what I'm seeing is that, are you finally going to break free from the destructive emotional behavior, the patterns that you have been doing that you have been holding on to, that you have been walking with, not in just in this life, because how do I know this? Because we have Pluto, we have the North Node, we have the South. Those are all lives, destinies. That has to do with the bigger picture of why you're here, right? So is it, well, the way I see it is, are you going to finally stop holding this stuff and doing the same behavioral patterns that you have been doing for a long, long time in this life and in others, right? But it's like, it's almost, all this stuff is bringing it up to our consciousness. It's bringing it up so that we finally change this. It's bringing it up so that we finally pay attention. It's bringing it up because you're the one born in this time that can put A, B, C together to get the outcome that you really have been wanting for a lifetime. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So with Chiron being next to the North Node, it's like taking your deepest wound and saying, are you finally going to stop letting the psychological bullshit hold you back? Or are you just going to be you and remember who you are? Remember where you came from. Remember what you can do. Does that make sense? So Chiron, again, is our deepest wound, but it is in Aries, who is like Mars, me, 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 me. And don't follow Aries for that. That's, Aries came here to do that. Because who knows? People that are Aries, they probably had other lives where they were just a servant. And this time, and they never got to do me. And this time they get to do me. But they're not used to doing me. So they got to work on that. That's why you make yourself Aries, right? But that's on a personal level. But because Chiron is an Aries, and it's the wound, it's a deep, deep wound. And Aries is about, I want to do what I want to do, right? Because these two are together, and it is your destiny. That's the North Node. It's your it's part of, it's not your whole destiny. It's part of your destiny because it's a transit. It's part of your destiny. It's part of what you're trying to grow into more of. Does that make sense? So you may feel like, I want to do me, but if I do me, I may get some backlash from the people around me or from society. And I care about that. So I can't do me. That's how Chiron can help you. That's how Chiron can make you feel in Aries. It's like, I want to do me, but I can't do me because there may be repercussions, because people may get mad at me, because people may get upset at me. Or it could go this way. You could say, I want to do that. I have this thing that I want to do. I have this creativity that I have. I have this dream that I have. I have this, I've always had it in me, because it's your destiny, right? So it's always been there. I always had it in me. I can see what I want, but I don't know if I'm capable of it. I don't know if people would listen. I don't know if somebody would invest in me because I need help. I don't think I can do it. I don't think I'm enough to do it. I don't think I'm capable. I don't think I'm the one to do it. You could feel that way. Does that make sense? That's what the North Node and Chiron could be making you feel. But what did I say? You have to go to the South Node. And there are skills, and there are ways, and there are things that you have already mastered that will help you do this. That makes sense? So that's the other part that I'm putting all this together. With Pluto being in Aquarius, and it's actually talking to Jupiter, right? Or in Uranus. So it's talking to Uranus. And Uranus, that gives us another layer. This is another clue, right? Uranus is the co-ruler of Aquarius, and it's in the sign of Aquarius. So what this stellium, with these three planets and all this that has been going on, it's going to want to act like an Aquarius and Uranus, right? And what's Uranus about? We've been seeing it. The future. Let's go to the future. Let's create in the future. Let's do the future. Let's do, because remember, Pluto, Mars, and Venus want you to look at your psychological stuff, your emotions, your what's holding you back right now. But Aquarius and Uranus are like, no, 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 no. We're going to work on that in a little bit. The energy is right for us to do this. The energy is right for us to be in our head and think of what we're going to be in the future. And let's do the future. Let's show them the future. And what did we see? The Vision Pro, the Apple Vision Pro, I think is what it is. And you're seeing what's coming up again. AI is coming up again. Like all of that. These are all clues. And we can do that because that's right for them to want to do that. That's right for Aquarius energy. That's right for Uranus energy, and it's connected. They're talking to each other, to Pluto. And it's okay to do that. It's just not okay to be in that forever. You need to balance that, right? So you need to do the Leo thing, because Leo's opposite of Aquarius. You need to, and what is Leo really, really good at? Loving themselves, taking care of themselves, being here on this earth. They don't have to go far. They don't have to go in the air like Aquarius. They like to, but they don't have to, right? They feel comfortable here. So with all of this happening, this tells me it's cool and it's okay to meditate, to go to other places, because Uranus and Aquarius are like, let's talk about anything but right now. Right? Let's do anything but right now. So it's cool to go to those places. It's cool to expand our mind. It's cool to meditate and go to the different realms and different dimensions. But we need to balance that. And because there's so much energy, that's the stellium, there's so much energy in this house. We need to balance that by right now, what I need y'all to do. This is the solution part of it, right? I mean, it's going to vary for everybody, but this is like the main part of what society, humanity, and us need to do. Right now, I need you to take care of yourself. Right now, I need you to look at your emotions. Right now, I need you to validate and be in your emotions and get through them. And if that takes you, let me love myself a little bit. Let me do Leo. Let me have some tea. I love tea. I want to read a book. Just don't read too much because you're going to escape again. I don't want you to escape. Let me have some tea. Let me really feel what tea is like. I love the taste of that tea. And I love when the honey is in there. Let me take a bath. Let me sit in a tub and take a bath and feel the water. Let me eat some really good food. Let me enjoy being on this earth. There's so much going on in the world. Let me take care of me for a minute. That's what you need to do. That's going to balance this energy that's going on. Okay. And this is really, really, really important because, again, I'm trying to get us to where we don't have to take 20 years to figure it the hell out. That makes sense. Like, we can take the 20 years. The universe and our life and our destiny has given us the 20 years. But do we really have to be stubborn and take the 20 years? Or can we take these little parts in bite sizes and kind of do the best that we can, so maybe it'll shorten it? Does that make sense? Okay. And this is where I know we're going. This is why I know we're going. Again, I'm trying to put all the pieces together for you. Okay. So where we're going, if we look, this is amazing. To me, this is amazing. On what we've been talking about now, what Pluto has been talking to all the 5 planets, the moon, the sun, Mercury, Venus, and Mars, 5 planets, 5 new cycles that we are going to be dealing with, right? And then we've been talking about that. And then comes, hold on a second, let me go back. May 2nd. Okay. Then we have May 2nd. So when May 2nd comes up, all these conversations, remember, these are the starts of cycles. That means Pluto has not finished with all of these planets. He's not finished with the cycle. He just started the cycle with them, right? So on May 2nd, Pluto stations retrograde. And we all know, if you've been following me for a long time, we all know what retrograde is, right? And as he's doing these retrogrades, he's going to be like talking to them. Or as he's doing this, as they're doing this transit, he's going to be talking to, don't forget about da da da. Don't forget about, so you're going to get clues. Don't forget about this. Don't forget to focus on this for a little bit. Don't forget to, like, he's going to be doing that. He's going to be talking to them. He's going to be yelling at them, saying, don't forget. Don't forget to do this. Don't forget to be here. Don't forget to work on this. That's what he's going to be doing. And some of us are going to ignore it. Some of us are not going to pay attention. So what does the universe do? It helps us, right? So Pluto's going to retrograde. Pluto's going to station, retrograde. And he's going to go back over to the 0-degree Aquarius. During that time, from May 2nd until September, he will be retrograding in Aquarius. Okay, that's where I was getting confused when I had the 2 dates of June and September. On May 2nd, he's going to begin to go back over those points and have those discussions again with all of these planets. So if you couldn't, if you wouldn't, if you thought you shouldn't, look at these psychological disruptions, this emotions that, because you couldn't figure out where it's coming from, or you could, well, that's when Pluto's going to give you the choice again. He's going to give you the chance again to go deep, to go in there. He's going to bring those up from May until September. Okay? Because in September, he's still going to be retrograde. He's just going to be retrograde. Hold on. And if you look, he's going to be at 0 degrees in August 30th. So he's like having us redo, relook, refeel, it's going to, all the re's, right? Redesign, readjust, everything. That's what retrogrades are about. Okay. With all of these planets, those were giving you hints about what you need to be looking at, what you need to be dealing with. Okay. And then on September 1st, he goes back to lovely Capricorn, and he's going to finish up what needed to be finished up with Capricorn. Okay. He's going to finish that up. But what's interesting, because that's where we're headed, right? So he's entering Capricorn, but he's had these discussions with all these other planets, right? And if you look, starting when I said that he was going to be yelling at them and talking to them, August 24th is when he kind of starts really talking to them. Let me go back so I can show you. I'm going to show you what I see. Okay. So August 24th is when he starts talking. He's like yelling at Mars right here, who's got Jupiter. And if you got Jupiter and Mars, whatever's repressed anger, repressed emotions, Jupiter is going to help you deal with it a little better, right? But the thing about Jupiter is every planet has a good side and a bad side. That's why it doesn't matter. It's kind of your perception. But he, whatever planet or house he's in, he makes bigger. So the anger could get bigger. The repression, the eruption could get bigger. Whatever this is, you're going to deal with it, because Pluto is talking to Mars again and saying, don't forget what we discussed. Don't forget to look at this. You owe this to yourself. You are powerful. You can get through it. You don't have to carry this baggage anymore. Okay? And that's what he's like. August 24th, you'll start feeling that way. Right? And then August 26th, Oh yeah, he's still, no, I'm sorry. He'll be talking to the moon. He'll be talking to Jupiter. He'll be aspecting them, right? So we're going to be dealing with that. And then September 1st comes, and that's when he enters Capricorn, right? And he'll be talking to Mars, um, aspecting Mars until like September 11th. So those things could be coming up at that time, right? But let me take you back to what's coming first. Because this is where I'm like, oh yeah, we really need to look at this. Okay. Just bear with me. We have now I want you to look at this chart. Look at Pluto. He's down here, right? And look where everybody's at. Look at that. Chiron, the sun, the moon, Mercury. They're all talking to the North Node. And it's like they're giving them messages about what they discussed with Pluto to help you on your journey to your destiny, right? So they're all talking to the North Node, and they're giving them what needed to be and what needs to be worked on from Pluto into your destiny. And guess what? That's the solar eclipse. That's the solar eclipse in Aries that's coming, right? That's what's happening. The sun and the moon, that's an eclipse, right? It's a solar eclipse. So that will be happening April 8th. That's why we know. That's why I love astrology. I can see it. Like, he had these messages, you're dealing with this stuff, and then we're seeing how it's going to your destiny. How did we know that before? Because we looked at the clues of Mars and Venus and how they were connected to Aries and Libra, right? But that's where we're headed. And what Pluto is saying is, let's clear up this bullshit that you've been carrying for so long, that when these planets talk to the North Node, it's the eclipse. We can eclipse everything and get you forward. We can eclipse everything and have you healed in that area, in that phase, in those things. Now, will everybody do it? No, because people are stubborn, or people think they don't have the time, or don't put in the love for themselves. But it's my way to show you that the universe is supporting you. It is supporting you. It's trying to show you things. It's trying to help you on this roadmap. Like I said, it's a roadmap. It's trying to help you get your way to where you're wanting to go, with and without the things that you want to do and be and have and hold in this life. Does that make sense? And one more thing that I forgot to say, because there's so much, that's why I have to write things down, because it's so much, is that Jupiter is going to be aspecting a lot of this, a lot of these planets. So hold on. As the planets go into Aqua, sorry. So as these planets are going into Aqua, they are squaring Jupiter. That's a hard aspect. That is like, you have rewards and you have luck, but this is not about luck. This is about bringing in and making bigger these things so that you can focus on, so that you can realize where you are, what you need to let go of, what emotions you need to validate within yourself, where your misplaced emotion is, because you haven't dealt with it for so long. But Jupiter in my eyes, Jupiter is like, let's make this bigger so that you can finally pay attention to this, so that you can move forward without all of this. Because he's having the conversation not just with the planets, but with Pluto. And it's like Pluto and him. Pluto's like, I just want the hard aspect of you. I just need you to blow things up. I just need you to make things bigger. Because we need to finally show them. They need to finally see it within themselves. They need to finally feel it. They need to finally get over this stuff. Does that make sense? So each planet is going to have this harsh aspect, this square with Jupiter. But eventually Jupiter will give you the gifts. If you do this, Jupiter will give you the gifts. Uranus will give you gifts. Your North Node will give you lots of gifts, right? It's not like they're trying to punish you. They're trying to finally get you, because we're such beings, we can keep all of this stuff even in the next lifetime. In this lifetime, we've kept it. We have a baggage that we're holding, that we're pulling, and we forget because we've been in it for so long. And they're trying to relieve us. They're trying to get us to a place where our energy is bigger and it's more open, so that we have room for the gifts. When you're not bogged down by all of this emotional bullshit, by all this psychological bullshit, by all this fear, when you're not bogged down by that, your life is so much more freeing and freedom, and it gives you the expanse so that other things can come in, so that your gifts, your destiny, the people, the relationships that you want can come in. Okay? So that's what's going on, and has been going on, and what will be going on. And that's just my take on it. So I hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to leave you with that. I'm sure you'll have to come back and watch it again, because there's a lot of information that happens when I channel. I love you, love you, love you. Thank you so much. I will be getting the Pluto videos out as I can. So have a good weekend. Bye.